A couple more things. The four regressions, the four types are by far the meat and potatoes of this unit. But there are some more things that we need to discuss. Okay, so descriptive form of the quadratic equation. Sometimes it's also like we sometimes refer to it as the vertex form, and you'll see why in a bit, because this particular form gives you the vertex, right? Okay, so I'm going to start writing notes. Recall standard form, right? Looks like this. Y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. Of course, b and c could be 0, right? As long as you have the x squares, where a, right, will determine width and opening. Determines the width and the opening, and C is the Y-intercept, right? 0C, like that. Descriptive form looks like this. Y is equal to a bracket x plus h squared plus k. So that is new, right? Where a determines the opening and the width, still just like before. H is the x value of the vertex. K is the y value of the vertex. Note K is often mistaken as being the Y-intercept, right? And don't make that mistake. So the vertex in this case, when you look at an equation and it looks like that, would be negative h k. And I'll highlight that negative in front of h. We change the sign of x, of h as seen in equation. So it's very interesting that the h is always needs to be changed the sign needs to be changed of it before you state the vertex if you're given an equation like that. Okay. And I will give you an illustration of this using Desmos. I'll just cover it up for a bit, okay, then I'll come back to it. So if you're not quite done, bring this over like that, right? So I typed in the vertex form of the quadratic equation. And A, right, I added a slider for it. A still does the same thing. If it's negative, it points down. If it's positive, it points up. If it's between 0 and 1, right, like it'll be a wider one. And as soon as you go past 1, it will be narrower. So that doesn't change. That's still the same. But watch, H is inside the bracket. If H is negative, it will actually shift. Focus on the vertex here. Focus on the vertex. It shifts it to the right. Right? So you have a negative H value, and it will shift it to, watch this. Look at the value here for the vertex, 6.2 positive, right? But in this equation where I'm plugging it into, it's negative. Oh, somebody's saying something. I'm presenting. It says I'm presenting. You're not seeing this? Oh, wait. We can't see the Desmos. Hold on. I'm going to stop presenting. I'm going to go give her again. Thank you for letting me know. How about now? Okay, so I probably, okay, thank you. I probably presented at a window, not the screen. So I forgot to. So everybody at home, just bear with me here again. So this is I typed in the descriptive form, and A, right, is that coefficient in front that still does the same thing, right? If A is positive, it goes up. If A is negative, it goes down, right? And it will still determine the width of it as well, right? The bigger A is, the narrower it becomes. That changes, doesn't change. But H, what H is in here, if I change the slider to a negative value, let's say -4, right? Watch what the X value actually is for your vertex. It's +4, right? It's negative when you plug it in here. So right now the equation reads X -4, right? That's what I'm saying. But it turns out to be a vertex with a +4. And the opposite happens when you slide it towards the positive. So let's go 5.3, let's say. Your vertex is, the X value of the vertex is actually -5.3. And now let's play around with the K value, which is outside the bracket, right? It changes the Y value of the vertex, okay? However, the sign doesn't change. If it's positive, then the vertex will be above. If it's negative, the vertex will be below, okay? So that's what so when you have a vertex form, it gives you information about the vertex and there's no Y-intercept there, okay? In fact, let's go back to this one. Based on this right now, your Y-intercept is 0.16.163, right? Which is nowhere on in this formula, right? So you gotta, or the equation, so you gotta watch out for that, okay? All right, let's keep going. All right, so we figured out, so some examples here. If you're given y is equal to -x plus 4 squared plus 5. I will highlight this. Okay. So based on this, we know that opens down because A is negative. It's a normal width because A is equal to 1. Okay. And the vertex is -4, right? It's -4, +5. So I'll just highlight both of the signs here, right? Like it was +4 in the equation, but when you actually state your vertex, you change the sign. Okay, another example, f of x is equal to 0.75 x minus 1.35 squared minus 7. So we're describing it just by looking at the equation. Okay, opens up, A is positive. It's wide, right? A is between 0 and 1. And the vertex is positive 1.35 minus 7. And if you don't believe me, you can type this in and find the vertex, and you would get this, right? If you're ever unsure, just type in the equation and find the vertex, and you'll find it, right? But sometimes I design a question so that it's a lot quicker to do this, okay? What about the Y-intercept? Well, we can do y2 is equal to 0, second trace. No, sorry. Guys, I'm a little slow today. Y-intercept, right? Second trace 1, x is equal to 0. That's what you do to do this. So go ahead and get your calculators. Type that in. Turn off plot 1 because whenever you enter stuff into y1, you wanna like that. Don't forget the squared. A lot of students forget that, and then they have a straight line. Okay. And I probably can go zoom 6 with this one. Yeah, zoom 6 works just fine. So we're going to find that y-intercept. You cannot get it from the equation. It will be wrong. You'll see second trace 1. This is why I told you at the beginning, it's good to still know how to do this with your calculator. Finding the y-intercept. And it's 0, negative 5.63. That's the y-intercept. And I don't have a lot of room, but I want to do that algebraically. I'm going to try to fit that in here. Or I'll do it on the next page. I think it's going to be too crowded here. Algebraically, we'll do this by hand, algebraically on the back side. I will. If you have room, continue, right? So y-intercept, right? X is equal to 0, right? So you go f of 0 is going to be 0.75 x. I'm already forgetting. Is it minus 1.35? Yeah. 1.35 squared minus 7. I'm going to go f of x here, okay? The first line, my bad. I want to have the original there, and then I want to do the f of 0. So we plug in, we say that f of 0, when x is equal to 0, we replace all the x's with zeros, right? And then you just, it's basically bed mass after that. We know that this turns out to be negative 1.35 squared minus 7, right? And then we figure out what this is, which is going to be a positive negative 1. If you want to do, if you actually want to type it in, you got to make sure you use brackets or else it won't be positive. That's 1.8225. I use all decimals. Minus 7. Then I'm going to figure out what this is. It just basically, I'm just asking you to show the steps. And then we go that answer minus 7. That's negative 5.63. Then you can round, okay? So you essentially found 0, negative 5.63, which is a point, but in particular, it is your y-intercept, okay? You can plug in any value you want here. You can go f of 3, f of 4, it doesn't matter. That's what that is. Okay, so this is done algebraically. I need to see at least 2 to 3 lines here. Like if you don't want to show every single line, 2 to 3 lines is fine, where you go from one to the other. And we're almost out of time here, so I think I'm going to continue tomorrow. Let me see what I can assign. And what I'm going to assign is page 30. Homework, right? Homework, page 30 and booklet. It's just a one page where you get to use your graphing calculator over and over. If you, I'll make a note here because some of you don't have your booklet in front of you. Use calculator for everything. Whatever it says there, like do it by hand or whatever, you just do it using your calculator, and it's asking you to sketch. Okay, I'll show you what the top looks like this. And watch this. You have the descriptive form here on the left, then you have a standard form in the middle, and you have a factored form at the end here. We are not going to study the factored form like in and of itself. So don't worry about the name and don't worry about what it's telling you how to find it. You just use it the way you normally do, okay? Same here, the staircase method. What is a staircase method? If you've never heard of it, you don't worry about it, okay? You just use your calculator to answer all of these things. It's not a word problem, so it gets you back to just graphing without there being a word problem. All 4 quadrants are included. And so that's what I'm going to assign for tomorrow because I haven't covered enough ground with today's lesson. I need to do a bit more before I can assign more of that, okay? So that is it. If you're online, you can sign off. See you tomorrow.